All right, a little bit of a channel update. Got a couple projects going on, a couple irons in the fire that I need to get sorted out. So, one of the things going on is bought a CarPlay screen for the bike. It's a 7-inch screen, pretty nice. Got a little shade on top of the screen here. I don't know, it does a little bit of good. Mounts just like with the RAM mount ball. The only problem is this thing does not come with a power switch. You can turn the screen off, but you can't actually turn the unit off. So that's not really any good. It's got this inline plug. The other end of it screws onto this, plugs in, and then screws on and attaches to the battery on the bike. So I found these inline power switches, and I'm gonna wire this in. I'm gonna cut the plug here and on the bike somewhere in that general fashion somewhere on there, and wire this in, solder it up, and that way I'll have a switch so I can turn it actually off so it's not constantly drawing power off the bike's battery. Top of that, I had to replace the battery. So this is the battery. This is the old battery. The new one looks just like it. It's the exact same battery. It's got a different model number. This is an older model. They kind of upgraded it, but it's basically the same battery. And so, fun fact for anybody that doesn't know, this is a lithium battery. It doesn't weigh a couple pounds. It's pretty light. Not your standard motorcycle battery. Um, when I bought the bike, I did not realize it had a lithium battery in it. And I bought a battery tender and a battery tender lead to hook up to the battery, and I pulled the panel off to access the battery, and I still didn't realize it was a lithium battery. I didn't pull it up out of there to realize there was that much difference in the weight, or I'd have really known something then. That would have struck me out. It was so light. But anyway, I hooked up the battery tender lead, had it sitting all winter on the battery tender, and lithium batteries don't like that. Um, you technically should not use a regular battery tender with a lithium battery. You need a special uh, charger. You can use a regular battery tender on a lithium battery, but not something you want to do long term, because that will damage them. And that's basically what happened. I had it hooked up all winter long, and I basically killed that battery. Didn't know it initially. Took it out and rode it one day, and it ended up dying and left me stranded, and had to get a tow home. Did some research and did some checking on the battery, checking the voltage and this and that, and basically figured out by reading in my checks that I basically ruined that battery. So that cost me a couple $100 to replace that battery. Got one just like it though. So that's a little bit of fun fact for anybody that doesn't know about lithium batteries. It was a learning experience for me, that's for sure. It was my first to go around with it. So outside of that, I've got a camping trip coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's the Indiana YouTubers meetup, and my Jeep is still down, and so I got to figure something out. Well, back in, I can't remember if it was January or December. Um, Hell, it might have been February. I can't remember. It's been a couple months ago. I bought well, no, it was back in January or December, one of the two. But anyway, I bought a 5x8 utility trailer from Tractor Supply, and my intentions then was to take the tent off the Jeep and put it on the trailer. Um, I didn't like it. It annoys the shit out of me that I can't take my Jeep through the car wash. It's bothered me ever since I put the tent on there. So, as I thought about it, I just thought it would be a much better setup on the trailer, give me more versatility. And I still got the rack system on the Jeep, so I can always throw it back on the Jeep if I need to, if I'm going on a, trip where I'm not really gonna be able to take the trailer. So I can always put the tent back on the Jeep if I need to or want to. So here is the trailer right on the side of the house. Here is the tent laying in the bed of the trailer. Now, I can set it up right there where it sits. I just got to rotate it and flip it open. But the problem with that is I lose. I don't have any storage space really to for the rest of my camping gear or whatnot. And aside from that, the um, the pop outs on the tent that they're like um, whether it's so when you open your windows that you got a little bit of protection from the rain or elements, whatever, and it gives you a little bit of shade. And you can't put the rods in because of the trailers that then they have enough space to put the rods in to kick the flaps out. So, and what's funny is a year ago before I bought the tent and bought the rack for the Jeep, I was looking at trailers and I was like, oh, it'd be simple. I just buy some ladder racks and blah blah blah, and I was thinking simple. After I got my trailer, I started thinking complicated. I felt like I had to go buy some raw steel and weld something up and really get creative. And I was looking on YouTube trying to find some inspiration and ideas, and people done some pretty cool builds, but they did not really go into great detail as far as how they did the frame for the tents. And then I was talking to my good buddy Larry yesterday, and he mentioned I'd be looking for some ladder racks. And I was like, you know what? I thought about that at one time, and that was what I was going to do. Got complicated. So I came back to simplification. Got online last night, ordered me some cheap ladder racks from Amazon. I ordered some stabilizers to put on the bottom of the back of the trailer to stabilize the trailer, and a hand crank jack to put on the tongue, so everything will be stable and like you want it to be. So hopefully by the end of the week, all that stuff will be here, and hopefully next weekend I can get it all put together and have the trailer ready to go for the camping trip. That is the plan. So just a little update. Also, the Jeep. The Jeep has been down for over a month. It's been, about a month and a half at this point. And transmission's bad. And I was really worried that the warranty company was not going to cover the repairs, because there's a clause in the warranty that if you off-road your vehicle, that they will not cover your warranty claim. Well, my Jeep has never been off-roaded. It looks like it because it's lifted and got big tires on it, but it's never been off-roaded. So I took my Jeep to Nick's Custom NIC Custom Off-Road down in Bowling Green, Indiana, which is the shop who did the lift kit and all that. And I knew they were backed up, and it was going to be a minute if they could get to it. Well, it ended up taking them basically a whole month before they could even get to it. And they got to it, and they said, yeah, we think it needs a new transmission, but we want to send it down to Dusty's. Dusty's one shop in Terre Haute that does all their transmission work, because they do a lot of LS swaps, and they send all that stuff to Dusty's, and Dusty's, they're a good, reputable shop, and they take care of all that for them. And aside from that, Nick said that if we sent it down to Dusty's, and Dusty's did agree it needed a new transmission, that the warranty company would take it better coming from a transmission shop than his shop. Well, turns out that worked. They did agree to pay for it, most of it. They found a cheaper deal, and I'm not sure what their cheaper deal was, what it entailed, whether it was a junkyard transmission or what. But the deal that Dusty's had was a reman transmission with 3 years, 100,000 mile warranty for $5,500. And the deal I would have got if I went with the warranty company was I would have only paid my deductible out of pocket, which was $100, and I would have only got warranty until the end of next year, which is when my contract with them expires. And my guess is they probably found a junkyard transmission. It wouldn't have been a rebuild, which is basically as good as new. So I opted to go with the option of going with the Dusty's. So I had to pay the difference. So it cost me a little bit more than my $100 deductible, but in the long run, I feel it's worth it. Talked to them last Tuesday. They had the transmission there ready to go. They hadn't started on my Jeep yet. They said that they should have it done by the end of the week or first of this next week. So I'm gonna reach back out to them tomorrow. Today's Easter Sunday. I'm gonna reach back out to them tomorrow, touch base. Hopefully it should be ready to go either tomorrow or Tuesday. Then I can get it back over to Nick's shop, which they were gone in Moab all week, so they wasn't around anyway. So hopefully I can get it's done, and I can get it back over to them early this week, and hopefully by the grace of God they can get me worked in and get the oil cooler job done, because that's another issue. It's got a leaking oil cooler. So yeah, I got hit with two pretty major catastrophes with the Jeep all at once. Not fun. Very costly. And even with the insurance helping me with the one job, it's still costing me a nice chunk of money. And the oil cooler job, it's not a cheap one either, and I'm going to end up paying that 100%. I'm pretty sure. I'm still going to have Nick's shop reach out to the warranty company and see what they say. If they decide to help me with it, that'd be great, but I've got a feeling they're not going to. So I'm already figuring I'm going to cover that 100%, but if it works out I don't, hey, that's a bonus. So that's it right now. That's the update I got. The weather just ain't been cooperating to get any more riding done on the bike. I rode a little bit, briefly Friday night when I got off work, to the clinic to go I had to go get a DOT physical. So I rode it to the clinic, and when I left the clinic, I hooked up the GoPro and my mic and did just a short run home on the interstate to test the mic, and it worked out better. So hopefully here for long we'll be able to get a moto vlog done. So that's it. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Those that are subscribed, thanks for subscribing. If you catch this video and you're not a subscriber and you see something that piques your interest, if you don't give me a subscribe right away, come back and check again. Maybe you'll see a video in the future that makes you want to subscribe. So this is Iron Trail Brotherhood, and thanks for watching. God bless.